If you find yourself with some badly stained labware, be it glass, porcelain, or stainless steel, you might need an aggressive cleaner. In this video, we'll make a cleaner that excels at removing carbonaceous residues, especially from porcelain. Mixing up a batch is really simple. Start with 2.4 grams of sodium hydroxide. Add a beefy stir bar, and then add some water to dissolve it. This is nowhere near enough water for the next step, so I'd recommend starting with about 200 milliliters. Next, add 16.9 grams of oleic acid. Mine is a bit aged, so it's a little darker than fresh material. That doesn't matter. As you can see, it lightens up when added to the sodium hydroxide anyway. After it has all been added, the oleic acid is deprotonated to the oleate ion. It starts to dissolve, and within moments the mixture gels up and the stir bar can't move very well. This is well beyond the saturation point for sodium oleate. By the way, don't even bother trying to rinse out the beaker that had the oleic acid in it. It's an exercise in futility. A good amount of soap or detergent will do the job later. Or you can add some more sodium hydroxide solution and have it be its own soap. After watching the beaker dance around on the stirring motor for a few moments, I finally added more water. These proportions are designed to give me a final mass of 300 grams, so I'm not entirely sure why I was being so stingy with the water. Proportionally, I will use about 250 grams of water, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to make life more difficult at this stage. Now that I have it spinning freely again, I dump in 22.8 grams of tribasic sodium phosphate, also called trisodium phosphate, and watch it seize up again. The final product is supposed to have a gel-like, almost toothpaste consistency. After just a few moments of stirring, it does start to thicken and it will seize up, as I said. A big heavy stir bar does help with this, but it's completely inadequate once it starts to gel. This is why either an overhead stir would be better, or probably just a glass stirring rod. At this point, I went back to the balance to add the rest of the water. Remember that there is a stir bar still stuck in this mess. I compensated for its mass by tearing the balance with the beaker and the stir bar together. Once I added the water, I stirred it a bit with a glass stirring rod. And then the stirrer was able to do a little bit more, so I'm glad I left it in. I thought about taking it out before adding the TSP, but this way worked. Notice that there is some foaming up on top. We did make soap after all. So don't agitate it too much or you'll have suds everywhere. Once it looks more or less homogeneous, we'll stop the stirring and put it into a storage bottle. First things first, let's fish out that stir bar. Oops, I guess the last solution I fished the stirring bar out of was phenolphthalein. I'm going to give it one last stir, and then before it sets up completely, we'll get it into that bottle. I dumped this gelatinous goo into a 16 fluid ounce straight-sided jar. This is a plastic jar, and this product should not be stored in glass. It's a pretty strong base, and it will supposedly etch glass, especially soda lime glass, if left in contact for too long. I chose this jar mostly because it's short and wide, which should make it easier to get the product out for use. It's still a bit loose now, but it does set up into a gel over the next day or two. So let's take this poor little evaporating dish with a stain of who knows what on it and give this stuff a test. It's been a couple of days, so now it is a pretty firm gel. I'll just plop a little dollop directly on the stain, rub it around a bit, and then rinse it away. Right away I could see the stains start to vanish, and I know I've tried to clean this thing with regular soap and water a couple of times in the past, and it's been stained for a very long time. Maybe I should bring that rinse onto the camera. I don't know. It looks as good as new. Anyway, another company that sells this formulation claims that if this cleaner doesn't remove the stain, nothing will. We shall see. I recently gave away a bunch of dirty glassware that I didn't feel like cleaning, but I bet this would have made quick work of the job. For really bad stains, you can leave the gel on the gunk for a while before rinsing it off, but beware of that whole glass etching thing. In any case, I made this preemptively because I'm planning a future video that's going to seriously mess up some glassware. I'm planning on it being a total loss, but I figure I'll give this a try at the same time. I'll let you know how it works. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.